Hello my friends, welcome to Bookla's channel. In today's video I'm really excited to present you our new component for Framer. It's called subscriptions. With this component you can sell different type of subscriptions or memberships to your clients. For example, it can be a monthly subscription or it can be a bundle where the client can have, for example, 8 bookings available for some specific price. And this component can be used together with our booking component. Because after the purchase, client will receive a code that can be used during the booking. And now I will show you how to add this component to your project. Let's get started. Alright, we are in Bookla, and for this tutorial I'm gonna reuse the same company as I used previously. So right here it's a simple company like Bookla Gym. We have one coach, one service, training. Let's add a subscription to the training service. So first of all, to start using subscriptions, you need to go to plugins and go to add plugin. And right here in discovery section, you will be able to find subscriptions plugin and you can add it to your company. Just click add. And now on the left side, you will see the subscription section. Now let's add our first subscription. So click new subscription, and here in this interface you can start creating the new subscription. So first of all, you need to set the name of your subscription, set the duration. So by default it's 30 days, but you can set whatever you want. So you can select one or more services that are attached to this subscription. So basically what kind of services your customers will be able to use with this subscription. The same with the resources, you can attach one or more resources, and also you can limit those subscriptions to particular days of the week, for example, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you can also limit by hours, for example, from 10 till 15. Also, you can limit by visits count. So let's say you can use only 8 visits with these subscriptions, and also you can set the max duration. So max duration will be used for flexible services where you can select the duration. So basically where you set this maximum duration parameter, your customer will not be able to book the duration that is higher than is available. Also there is a recurring booking parameter. Mostly it's used to pre-book some visits. For example, when you have a swimming class in the gym, let's say swimming class for kids, and this class happens like every week on Tuesdays at 10 in the morning. And when you set the recurrent bookings to true and you set the recurrent rule right here, so basically when the customer purchases the subscriptions, all the bookings are pre-booked ahead, like automatically. So your customers don't need to do the manual bookings themselves, because for example for kids swimming classes, so you don't need like to book another visit. So all the classes happen at 10 a.m. in the morning on Tuesdays, and that's it. So you don't need like to pre-book anything. And the renew period, so your customers, when they purchase the subscriptions, they will be able to renew the subscription. And for example, if you have limited spots for your subscriptions, your customers will have, for example, 7 days to renew after the subscription expires, not to lose the place in the group. But for our first subscriptions, let's just remove all those necessary parameters, and let's say we want to create a monthly subscription for just 30 days without attachment to any services, resources, day limits, whatever. So customer, if they purchase the subscriptions, they will be able to book any service within 30 days. Let's create. As you can see, the subscription is created, and let's create a new one but with some limitations. Click create, and let's call it 8 trainings bundle. So the duration will be like 30 days, and for services let's select training. And we don't need any other limitations, but only one with the visits count, because we don't want our customer to use more visits than 8. So and just click create. As we can see, we have 2 subscriptions created, one with the 8 trainings limit and another one without any limits, monthly subscriptions that can be used without any limitations. Alright, now we can go through all the sections here just to understand what it's all about. So the second section is contracts, where you will see all the contracts that are created by customers. So basically after the purchase, so the contract will be created automatically here. Or you can create the contract manually just by clicking add contract and filling those fields. Then the next one is pricing. So here you can set the prices for your subscriptions. So first of all, you need to set up the currency, let it be US dollars. Then you can set the tax rate, and then you can click create price and set the price for your subscription. So for example, we have $100 for the monthly subscription. So you can select multiple subscriptions and attach them to the price. So for example, if you have 5 or I don't know, or more subscriptions with the same price, so you can just select all those subscriptions here and create one price for them. Alright, click create, and now let's create a price for our second subscription, and let it be $80, and let's select a training bundle subscription. Nothing more, just click create, and now all the prices are created here. Now let's go to the capacity section. For example, if you have a limited number of spots for your subscriptions, let's say you have like a small gym and you can handle only 100 active subscriptions, 100 active members. So then you can, for example, click create capacity and set the capacity for the monthly subscription. Let's say it will be 100, and then you will not be able to sell more than 100 subscriptions simultaneously. So for example, if one subscription expired, so then this spot will be available for another one. So but for our tutorial we don't need any capacity settings here. And if we go to the settings, here is just one setting at the moment, it's shopping cart expiration. So it means that user has 15 minutes to finish the payment once they started the purchase and they received the payment URL. Okay, so everything is created here, and the one thing that we are missing is basically the payment provider. So to make everything work, we need to set up the payment provider, because otherwise it makes no sense to have subscriptions without the possibility to purchase these subscriptions. And to do that, we need to configure the payment provider. So in Bookla, we can go to the plugin section and add a plugin, and we have multiple payment provider. But for this tutorial, we can just use Stripe, click add here, and go to the Stripe section on the left side and click start connecting. We have a separate video where we explain everything, so how you can connect the Stripe payment, how to get the secret key, what is success URL, failure URL, and everything about the Stripe connection. I will attach the link to this video and you will be able to check this video. So but for our tutorial I will just add those settings here, and just I already have these settings pre-filled, and just click connect. And now we have connected our payment provider, and let's go back to subscription, and now we see that there is no notification that we don't have connected our payment provider. So on the Bookla side, everything is created. Now let's go to the Framer. In Framer, I created an empty project, so with just a few pages, like home, memberships, booking, and thank you page that user will be redirected after the payment is made. And let's start adding our membership component. So let's click on memberships, and right now we need to open the plugins section and just type Bookla here and open the Bookla plugin. And here at the bottom of the page we have the membership subscription component that we're gonna use. So just drag and drop the component to your workspace, and voila, we have our component here. So let's adjust its size a little bit, let it be fixed, for example 420, and now we need to connect it with Bookla. So first of all we need to go to the settings of this component, go to the bottom of the settings, and here we see the Bookla settings that we need. It's API region, API key, and company ID. So API region depends on which server you have registered. So to check that on the Bookla platform, just check the first two letters here. So it's EU or US. And we use the Europe here. And for the API key, we need to go to the Bookla platform and to go to the developer section. So I already opened this section, and we can just click create API key. Let's call it subscription key. And we need to choose in the client permissions, client service, client resource, and guest client. Click create, and now copy this API key and go to Framer. Put it here, and now we need the company ID. Let's go back to Bookla platform, open the company on the left side in the menu, and copy the ID. Alright, go back and paste it here. Alright, so we have set everything up, and now let's check if it works. Click play, and yeah, we see that our subscriptions are loaded. So we have 8 trainings bundle and also monthly subscription with the pricing. Alright, this is the default view of our component. So now I will quickly go through the settings that we have here, but it more or less the same as with the booking component. So you can style it. So you can change the size of the component, change the background color, then change the primary color, secondary color, font family, also the item settings like background color and all those. Then the blocks settings, also the button. When you, for example, selecting the subscription, you can purchase the subscription, and this button basically will have these settings like the finish the payment. And locale is how the data is formatted, for example the pricing, and you can use, for example, by default it's English US, but you can use, for example, ES for Spain, ITA for Italy, and basically any locale that is supported by browsers. But let's just keep it English. So also you can enable or disable animations. So for example, if animations are enabled, you will be able to see those animations back and forth. But for example, if you disable, let's just move a bit up. If you disable animations and just try to run it, so you don't have any kind of animations here. So you can just go back and forth, but without any animations. Alright, then we have the guest mode. So by default it's enabled, so the client should enter the data like first name, last name, and email when doing the purchase. And also we have the show terms, the same as we have in booking component. So when you're finishing the purchase, so you are agreeing to terms and conditions, and you can set up the settings for terms and conditions link. For example, if terms are enabled, you will be able to set up terms text, highlighted text, and the terms URL link. Also, in the text object, you can change all the text that this component is using. For example, choose subscription, you can change to choose membership. And as you see, if we can scroll here, you will see that the data is changed automatically, and you can just change all the data here. So then we can also have a custom form. So the same as with the booking component. So for example, if you need to add some additional data, for example, you want to collect company name, and you can choose the type of the field. So we have text, text area, number, multi-select, select phone and URL, and also the placeholder, like enter the value. Okay, and let's just check how this one field will appear when we're doing the purchase. So then click play, let's select the component, and right here you see this additional field has been added. And when you add like multiple fields, all those fields will be displayed here. All right, so the default view is ready, so we can just publish it, and let's check if it works with the payments. So let's open this page. So it has loaded the subscriptions. All right, let it be company Bookla, agree to terms and conditions, and we can't see the bottom page here, but it's easy to fix. Let's go back and just select our page right here, and the height, we have fit content here, and right here we also can select fit content. And let's just publish it, update. Let's open it, select our component. Yeah, everything is fit here. And Bookla, I agree to terms and conditions. And we see that the button is enabled right now, and it also shows the selected subscription price. Let's click. All right, we have been redirected to the Stripe checkout page, as we connected Stripe previously, and we can use the test cards here. So that is provided by Stripe, and any CVC and the full name James Bond, for example. So click pay. Check. And yeah, we have been redirected to the thank you page that we created for our website, and that we basically provided when we have connected our Stripe integration. So for the Stripe integration, for example, if you're using payments for your subscriptions and for bookings, you can create some universal thank you page like I did, so your payment is being processed, and that the email will be like the confirmation email will be sent, and all the details will be there. So yeah, we basically implemented the default implementation of our component, and let's check in Bookla platform if actually the contract has been created. Let's go back to Bookla platform, let's go to plugin, subscriptions, contracts, and yeah, we see that the contract has been created for the subscription 8 trainings bundle. It has status active, and it also has generated the code that we're gonna use later. And now it's time to check how our booking component gonna work with the subscriptions. So let's go to the booking page, and I already inserted the Bookla booking component here with all the company ID, service ID and API key. And let's add one more settings here to basically make our subscription work. So just select the component and go to the code field property. Just open it and enable. So by default it has the name of promo code, but you can name it, for example, membership code. And that's it. You can also change the placeholder and some error text, but by default you don't need to do that. So, and now let's run our component and check how it works. So by default, we don't see any code field here, but when the user selects the time, so the membership code appears. And let's just enter the code from our contract here, because we can have access to all the codes from all the contracts. And let's assume that the user is basically making the bookings and entering the membership code. And you see that the make booking button, so it changed the name. So previously it was continue and now it's make booking, because when we entered the code, the user data was fetched from Bookla, and the customer don't need to enter a name and email again, because we already know that this subscription basically is attached to that customer. And when we're making a booking, so the booking is made and we are redirected to the home page, because we didn't set up any settings where to redirect customer after the booking. To do that, you can just open the route settings and change the confirmed link to any page on your website. But let's check if the usage was added to our Bookla contract. Let's go to the Bookla platform. We can see the contracts here and just click View Usages. And as we see, the usage was created. So it has the booking ID, has the status, the source is client, so basically the client added the usage, and we see the usage ID here. So basically the usage was added, and the customer has only 7 usages left. Probably you're curious about how client can receive the code ID, the subscription code ID that they can use later during the booking. So to do that, you have 2 options. First one, you can enable the email plugin in Bookla. So just click Add Plugin, and here there is email notifications plugin that you can use. Let's go to the email notifications, and here for the client you can just create a template, and event type, just select subscription purchased, and then you can edit this subject of the email and also the body template of the email. So right here the code is inserted into the email, so you can like customize this text as you want. For example, hey, thank you for your subscription, here is your code, and that's it. Or maybe you can add some more additional data, like some how to use it, maybe some links also. So this is the option 1. And the option 2 is you can in developer section create the webhook. So for example, we have the webhook for the subscription, and the URL you can use the NA10 hook listener, or for example you can use tools like Zapier or make.com, so they also support webhooks. And when we're adding the subscription name, we can also write, for example, subscription purchased. And for the events, here we have subscription created event. And when the subscription is created, you can handle this event and, for example, send a custom email through the MailChimp or any other service. Then you can add it to your CRM or whatever. So basically you can create any kind of automation. And we also have a tutorial on our channel how to do the automations using NA10 for bookings, and it basically works the same way. So you can use these webhooks and create really crazy integrations. And it's quite easy. And right now it's time to go to more advanced customization of our membership component. The first customization that you can do is pre-select one subscription. So to do that, you need to select the component and enter the subscription ID here. Let's go to Bookla platform, let's go to subscriptions, and just copy the ID of the subscription here and just paste it to the subscription field in component settings. And now let's just click play, and as you see, the component already in state where the customer needs to enter the first name, last name, email, and company, because we already added this field to our custom form, and agree to terms and conditions. And as you see, so the subscription price is shown here, and for example, when you create a separate page for your subscription, let's say you have one subscription or you have different pages for different subscriptions, you can set, for example, the section title purchase now, and the customer just need to enter the first name, last name, email, and some additional field if you have set them up, and just purchase the subscription. So this is one thing. Another customization that you can do is change this list of subscriptions. So for example, you can display just one subscription, or you can change the order of those subscriptions, or for example, when you have, I don't know, like 10 different subscriptions, and you can create different pages on your website, and for example, in one page you can show daily subscriptions like during the daytime, and another subscription, for example, for the weekends, and you can just separate those components for the different pages of your website. How to do that? It's really simple. You need to select the component. We can remove the subscription ID here because we don't want to focus one subscription, and we need to open the subscription section here. It's called subscriptions, and you can set the items for the list. So just click add. You need to enter the ID of your subscription, and for example, we have ID, the name of the subscription 8 training bundle, but we can call it, for example, premium membership, and also enter the subtitle for that subscription. So in this case, we're gonna have only one item here. Let's change if it works. Yep, as you see, we have the item that has the same ID as the 8 training bundle, but we have changed the name and the subtitle for this subscription, and the price is fetched from Bookla to show like the correct price. And let's just select, and we see that yeah, the premium membership is selected, and it works the same way as previously. For example, let's add one more subscription. Just copy the ID here. Let's go back. Let's just change our subscription list here, and just click add one more. And for example, daytime subscription, and some description. Let's just click play, and yes, we see that we have two items, premium membership and daytime subscription, with all the data that we just entered. And this is the way how you can change the list of items displayed in the list of subscriptions. And the third option that you can do is create a completely custom design for your subscriptions, where you can display like a price, some features, what it's all about, and use our subscription component in Framer components creation, and you can achieve the result something like this. So when customer selects the subscription, then the customer data form is displayed, and customer can purchase the subscription. And when unselect, so it just hides, and the same for the second subscription. So to do that, you can use built-in Framer component interface. I can show you just quickly how it works, and we have a separate tutorial how to create a custom component for service selection, and it works the same way. So here in the component, we have two subscriptions for variant 1, and for variant 2 we have the first one subscription selected, and for the variant 3 we have second subscription selected. And when it's selected, we just showing the Bookla subscription component with pre-selected subscription ID. And the same here. As you see, my friends, it was really easy to integrate this component into Framer project, and I hope you find it useful. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.